Fitness Pro Mentor community, welcome to another episode of the podcast. It is your hosts, Glenn Owen and Brandon Green. And we're really excited here to talk to you about email marketing, how you can grow your business, because truthfully, there's some incredible ways you can do some things in your accounting software or mailing software and really be hands-free of it and have your business get stronger, better, and grow more. And who doesn't want to do nothing, really, to see your business grow? But most importantly, Glenn, how are you doing today?
Very robust, Brandon. How are you doing today?
Robust. I am also robust. I just finished a workout and I feel very robust.
I love it.
Robust is a great word.
It's a great word.
Robusto. Anyway, like the cigars. The thicker ones.
I'm learning something. This is my one thing a day. I learned Robusto cigars.
So one thing, if you've been sticking around this marketing mentorship conversation for a while, by the way, we do have a mentorship. We work with groups of trainers and gyms and single personal trainers, and our goal is to help you have an organic business that scales and grows really without you having to do too much work. There are skills you have to develop, but truthfully, you can have an incredible business. And if it sounds like another soundbitey thing that other marketing people say, truthfully, come check out some of our students, because there are students who are absolutely crushing it, and I love it. Today, we're going to talk about something a little bit new, because the majority of the conversations we've been talking about since 2020 has been much more conversion event and social media based. And I'll be honest, as the founder of this little thing, I've put my stakes in the ground to try and focus on some key pillars. But one thing that we have not explored too much, which I'm really excited about, and I've invested a lot in the last few weeks to learn more about, is email advertising and real lead temperature increasing through emails. And I'm really excited about it, because truthfully, the more I'm discovering, and it sounds so simple, there are some very simple things that you can do to put in place to grow your business. And I'm going to give you some key things to think about right now to help your business get better faster without having to try that much.
Let's do it.
So if you use any accounting software whatsoever, like at the gym here, we use QuickBooks. QuickBooks easily integrates with mail list development software, for example, like MailChimp, which is probably one of the most common and widely used mail list softwares and is relatively affordable. Unfortunately for us, we have to pay for the bigger one because of the gym, and that's a first world problem. But here's what's great about this. Anytime you acquire a client, the first thing you should do is make sure that the automation in your accounting software is connected to a mail list. Because if you do that, you literally do not have to do anything to have all of your clients join a mailing list, and we're not going to try to sell them. Bear with me. But this automatically turns into everyone who gives you $1 at this point, and there's other ways to do this, they join your mailing list, which is great. Because as a new client comes in and they're working with Glenn, they go through Glenn's consultation process, his assessment, they get signed up for emails, and then there's a report or education session, and then they begin some sessions. But if you've been around our marketing ecosystem for a while, you know that things like social proof are extremely important to us, like testimonial development, curation, gathering Google reviews where you get positive affirmations from the work that you've done, and ultimately, true stories. On top of this, we also talk about something called lead magnets, which I'm sure many of you've heard of. Amy Porterhouse and many other giant marketers talk about using lead magnets to get people's attention, get them to opt in. And if just in case you're interested, we literally create lead magnets for you every single month. So if you're ever interested in that, we've got that as well. So when you have someone join your email list, especially if they're already a client, they're already opted in, right? They're already a hot client. But one thing that I've always found, even though we teach this, is how do you get these people to refer clients? Because truthfully, when you have someone that opts in at the very beginning, I would say, in my opinion, they're the most excited in the business relationship when they give you the first few dollars, even if they haven't got results yet, because they're impressed by the way you communicate. They're impressed by the facility. They're impressed by. Therefore, the excitement is the highest in the first few interactions. So if we think about an email list sequence, one thing that you can do in most of these softwares at the introductory price point is you can create an automated email chain where, which is probably simple for some of you, but maybe new, is that soon as someone joins your mail list, you can determine the length of time after they join the mail list that they get an email. And then you can set up a chain of emails where you can have email 1, 2, 3, 4, and it can go on really indefinitely. Send this email 1 day after, 7 days after, a month after, a year after, and so on and so forth. So I want to give you a little bit of an idea. What do you think so far?
Oh, you're crushing it. I was taking it.
I want you to think about a really simple strategy. I want you to think about a give, ask strategy. When someone joins you and gives you money for the assessment, right? They've already joined the mail list. They've already given you some money, right? It's sort of an ask, right? You're asking for some time to get some money for it. So the next thing that we're going to do is I want you to provide some value. And I've got emails for the facility prepared, and we just got to get them all lined up. So one of the things I've got in the first email is I have a video I made years ago on a very basic mobility routine that involves isometric, talking about potentiation and getting away from stretching, involving the reverse stretching stuff. I think it's like 15, 20 minutes long. And so the first email is going to provide everyone that joins our list a very basic isometric potentiation-based, no stretching mobility routine that almost anybody can do with very clear instructions. So they join the mail list. Hey, welcome to Strata. Very excited to have you be a client at our facility. As you know, our methodology involves X, Y, and Z, and we want you to perform and feel pain-free through exercise. Here's a quick mobility routine for you that you can start doing right away, provided your specialist approves it. And so this is great because now Glenn's already done an assessment, or whomever, and they get this free education from the facility to give them more stuff to do at home. Then 2 or 3 days later, this is where, if you wanted to, you could ask them a question, like you perhaps could do a survey. Or a very easy thing that you could do is second email is a video, which is now more an educational video about the entire facility. Hey there, my name's Brandon. As you've met one of our trainers in here, everything we do in here is tailored to help you move and pain-free through resistance training. And then you start to talk a little bit about your methodology or your facility. Now, this is kind of cool because truthfully, an educational dump to a brand new client about the facility and the methodology. You don't want to do that in an assessment, right? There's no point. There's zero reason for Glenn to talk to a client about their back pain and then go, by the way, Strata was founded in 2015 on the premise of, like they don't need to know that. But if you had a video, you could share it with them, which is kind of an ask, right? You're asking for their time to pay attention to you and the things you have to say, but it is giving them information about your facility, the history, and just giving them more if they want, which is cool. If they don't want to watch it, they don't have to watch it. Then the third thing, the first video was a mobility routine, right? The third thing could easily be any one of the lead magnets that you've created over the last few years, which is great. Now, why is this important? Well, you now have 3 emails rather. One is a give, one is educational, and then one is a give, right? Mobility routine, lead magnet with some sort of specific generic thing. This allows anyone that receives these emails to do what? Share them. So when someone's excited about seeing Glenn, this is great, he's great, I wish I could tell my husband about this, they can easily take the email and pass it along. And take the email and pass it along to their husband, their girlfriend, their friend. You got to check out this guy. Check this out. Check this out. This is the facility I'm going through. And this is great because if you have a team of people over time, you can have everyone in the team create a video that has some sort of educational narrative. So that way everyone in the team gets exposed. Everyone in all of your clients get exposed to everyone in the team, which is very cool. And then if you have a year's worth of lead magnets or more, and you have a bunch of testimonial videos like we do, now you get to share very cool narration style stories. How this client overcame back arthritis. Very generic. And then you share the testimonial video, but in there tell a bit of the story. This is client Sue. She was struggling with arthritis in her hips for years after a car accident. At 40 years old, she could not walk or ride a bike. She was forced to get hip replacements. Tragically, she had to get 4 hip replacements, 2, and then get them redone within 2 weeks. And then now this turns into a really interesting success story showing the power of exercise. Now, you might have a client like Leah was here yesterday. She might not know anybody that has hip replacement problems right now, but the second someone goes, I got to get a hip replacement, she goes, I know you got to go see. My guy Glenn and his facility, everyone there, they work with exactly this stuff. You got to talk to Glenn. And all of these are now asks, right? Because when you share a video, you're asking for their attention. But here's what you do. Ask, give, ask, give. Share some education, right? Would you like a copy of our exercise routine for elbow problems? Hip replacement video. Would you like some access to our back arthritis guide? Back arthritis video with a testimonial. And all of this turns into over 18 months, if you want to, spaced out emails. Now, I'm not telling you to send emails day after day, but truthfully, the goal of this is to share stuff over time in a very strategic, spaced out way. You're never really, at this point in this relationship, in this particular email chain, asking for anything that's a major opt-in. All you're asking for is their attention. Do you want this? check the story out. Do you want this? Check the story out. And a lot of, not all, but some of our clients, like I think Aaliyah is a perfect example. I got a few that are genuinely interested in some of the content. Some people are so busy, like maybe they'd be interested, but they don't have the time. But then there's other people who will watch all of it and be like, this is a crazy, great story. And here's what's great about this. While there's an upfront time at the beginning you have to put in to do this, as you've said, this is evergreen style content, right? Once you create it, it's good to go. And most of these softwares help to schedule it. So if you're already using an accounting software, a mailing software at an introductory price is like $20 a month, which is absolutely worth the expense, even if you have to pay $40 for the bigger one. And it just helps to grow everything in the business, right? I can do all this content and have this content, any client that Glenn acquires, they get more value. And it all supports the narrative of the facility because truthfully, Glenn and I and Lucy and Taylor and Eric and Tyler and Chris and everyone in here speaks the exact same language, which is really a powerful thing. And this is my vision when we haven't done this yet nor discussed it. But I have my video prepared. I'm going to send it out. I want to get Glenn to do an educational video. I want Lucy to do an educational video because if I can just have tons of value popping out there and each one of us is sharing a specialty, right? Lucy talks about exercise for osteoporosis. Glenn talks about why he doesn't stretch for whatever reason because he just wrote an article and got published. By the way, boom. Incredible value there. So obviously, I have been ranting for 11 minutes.
Great in 11 minutes, though.
Great, valuable. But give, ask, give, ask. The goal is that every client gets educational information. And the great thing is if you build this mail list, if you do a charity like we recently did, we have another one that we're coming up for the Rose of Sharon, which is donating to young mothers. You can email everyone much faster. And the last thing on this before I turn it over to Glenn is it also is social media crashing proof. One thing that happened in 2021, Instagram and Facebook went down for like a day in the middle of me advertising a social media generated marketing program. And I remember a few of our students asking, what do we do if social media goes down again? Well, this is how you do that. Is if you've got a huge social media following or you're getting attention, you got to get them on your mailing list to make sure that if that happens again, you have another way to contact them. Anyway, what do you think, Glenn?
I think there's few beautiful things that come from email lists. One, just like anything else, when things start picking up steam, there's like an exponential multiplier effect. Just like how right now, at least an example I'll give you in my business, it didn't actually take me too long after COVID to rebuild the business because COVID, like I was building my business, COVID happened, everything shut down, starting from scratch again. Got back up to a pretty healthy spot year and a half ago. I'm at this place now where like we keep getting referrals here. I get referrals from chiropractors and physios and doctors in my way. I don't have any room for these people. So what I'm trying to articulate here is that just like how when your business grows and you get full and you're helping a lot more people and your social media presence grows and things grow exponentially, email lists also grow exponentially as well. It may only start with 50, 100 people who are your current clients, friends, or family, but then once you start building an email list, you'll find they grow exponentially more and more. One of our students in the program, we'll call him AA, he's been on the email list for a while now, and he's at 1,500, 2,000 people, something like that, because he's been doing it, and it grows exponentially every time because more and more people are sharing these emails, referring more people to his email blast list. It keeps growing. But the other thing, and I think this is a really crucial part, is that when you get these email chains set up, the people who are going to become raving fans and want more, they're going to keep consuming more and more of the content. They're going to read every email. And the more time they spend watching your content, reading your emails, the more invested they become. They can't help it. It's like if you've got a favorite sports team, over time you don't become less invested in that team and all of a sudden decide to watch and enjoy another team. You actually just go to become more and more invested in that team. That's just your team. That's who you represent. That's how it goes, and it doesn't shift over time. It's very similar with email blast lists in that if these people are consuming your content more and more, especially at the very beginning, they get more and more excited. It becomes way easier to retain these people over time as clients, so they keep getting what they need. They keep feeling better. They keep getting tons of value. And then you keep feeling good because you're helping people, but you're also getting paid what you deserve for your services and your technical skills. So there's a couple of real great positives there as well when it comes to the email blast stuff. I'm really excited for it.
The only thing that I'll kind of close out, because truthfully, this is all I wanted to share in this little micro podcast for you. If you're not doing this, get started now. because as Glenn regarded, it's not that much work. It's going to be a little work if you've already got a lot of clients, you got to manually put them in. Sure. But on top of that, once it's set up with your accounting software or whatever integration softwares you're using, it's pretty straightforward. And you can have a lot of fun with it. Like, as long as you're not sounding too salesy in these emails, like, there are ways to sell through email, which that'll be a conversation for another time. But if you're just trying to build relationships and have this turn into giving so much value that it turns to sales, then you're in a golden spot.
I would say if you are really enjoying what you're hearing and you're like, I have to an email blast list, and everyone really should. I mean, even if you're an individual brand, you should really have an email blast list. One of the things that you can use is a great app called Zapier, Zapier, and it does integrations between thousands of apps with other apps. So if you happen to have a QuickBooks, or not QuickBooks, another accounting software, and you have MailChimp, and you're like, I want to use my accounting software, but I want to integrate with MailChimp, Zapier will be able to make that connection with you. It's a very nominal fee. So there are ways where if you've got two different programs and you want to connect them together, you can do that in the back end, and Zapier will connect the two APIs, which is kind of the back end communication tool that those two things use. So if you do come across that stumbling block and you're already getting email blast started, invest in Zapier a little bit. It goes a long way. But more importantly than that, Brandon, what's your pick of the week?
You know, and I had a different one picked, but I'm changing it after Saturday. So if you guys know one of the pick of the weeks, we got a machine in here called the Nordic Pro by Freak Athlete. It's a company. It is originally a 6-in-1 Nordic curl machine, and you can do all sorts of exercise. I absolutely am in love with it. But on Friday, we received what's called the lower body and upper body kit. So it's a leg extension, leg curl attachment. And I've been messing around with it. And I'll be honest, I'm so excited. This attachment's like a couple $100. I got it on sale originally. I think it's $300 now. First of all, it's incredible value because any sort of very simple, good profile, free weight leg extension, leg curl is very difficult to come by. More importantly, when I took RTS Mastery with Tom Purvis years ago, and I was working at another facility in Toronto, I was trying to figure out how to do a fully lengthened leg extension forever. There was one machine they had that was some budget random machine at the facility I was working at in Toronto, and you could sort of lay down and do fully lengthened leg extensions. Lengthened being like extended at the hip and fully flexed at the knee, which gets rectus femoris completely lengthened. It feels very interesting. You can't do it. I mean, even high-end machines like MedX, Nautilus Nitro, there's no machine that allows you to do it. But this allows you to come do a completely fully lengthened rect fem leg extension exercise, which is just a mind-blowing experience. So first and foremost, my pick of the athlete is the Nordic Pro with the leg extension attachment. There's a lot of cool exercises you can do, but a laying leg extension allows you to do some muscles on lengthened positions, which is incredible for helping to induce hypertrophy. The very interesting thing that I sent along to our staff chat was that most people get an incredible lactic acid buildup when they do leg extensions in the shortened position. And there's some reasons why this happens because of being more faster twitch dominant tissue. But what's interesting is that when you're in the fully lengthened position, that same inflammatory fullness, crippling response doesn't happen, which really blew my mind. I mean, yesterday I was doing it with all sorts of resistance levels and rep ranges, and I don't fully understand the mechanism, except it must be lengthened and it must not allow the inflammation to take up the same amount of space in the shortened tissue, but it's crazy. So if you're someone who has a gym and you like versatility and you want a piece of equipment that's not that expensive altogether, or you're someone who just wants a lot of variety for your home gym, I highly encourage you to get it. I mean, truthfully, whenever we move and we have space and I can afford to do it, I'm going to buy one of these for home because it allows me, if I don't want to come here or I'm stuck at home, to easily do a quiet resistance exercise session in the basement very, very easily. So definitely, and it stores very easily too. Obviously, I'm biased. I have no affiliate with them. I just love it. I think it's one of the coolest home pieces of equipment I have ever seen.
And for those of you who are thinking about insurance, it is commercial grade, so you will be covered. I know other equipment you have to be cautious with because if it's not commercial grade, then you are liable if something happens on that machine.
If you were in a commercial setting, yes.
Unlikely.
Which is a big thing, but yeah.
Unlikely, but for peace of mind, I know that's an important thing.
Yep.
I love the machine too. I've had my clients do the line one and they really enjoy it. And I think you and I both agree when it comes to helping the body feel stronger and better, more variety of different configurations you can challenge people in tend to improve overall robustness in the body. So I love that we have that addition. Mine's a bit of a different pick of the week. Mine is awareness. And it's a quick, small little story as to why. I listened to this podcast called Dario Vasiria, CEO. I think the guy's name is something Bartlett, Tyler Bartlett, I forget. It's a very, very popular podcast. He had this guy on there called Healthy Gamer GG, who's essentially a medical doctor with, I think, psychiatry on top of it. And this guy essentially used to be addicted to video games for years, managed to kick it with meditation, and then because of that, he decided he wanted to go to do medical school, got psychiatry, all that kind of stuff. I was listening to the podcast, and he said something very interesting about habits and breaking bad habits and bad mental, we'll call it like mental routines that we have that maybe don't serve us anymore. And the reason I'm bringing this up, just as a quick sidebar, is because I think sometimes what we see in the coaching program, and oftentimes, even in our own lives, is we know the things internally, like the way our brain works and how we think, that hold us back. Like if we have a fear of talking to people, so we don't want to go out there and talk to new people, that stops us from growing our business because we know we have to talk to people in order to grow our business. It's a fact. You can't just train people. You got to talk to people, to market, to do sales, all that kind of stuff. And so I bring this up because if you've got some like thinking that's holding you back, this could help. He had this really interesting thing he put up there. He said, routines are essentially just these very strong neural pathways in our brain that we kind of default to when situations come up. And whether you want to eat healthier or you want to change your thinking in something, we have to get out of that pattern. And he said one of the best ways you can do it is you just have to when it comes up, just be aware of it. And that's it. Don't even necessarily have to try to do something different in that moment. He's like, even just being aware of it is like slowly chipping away at it. And it might take thousands of chips away, but it's just like anything else where if you've got a giant tree trunk and it's like, 10 feet thick and it takes like 10,000, 15,000 chops, eventually you're going to break that thing, so it's going to fall over. It's very similar with your mental stuff that's holding you back. If you've got some things that you're catching yourself in, whether it's bad thought patterns, bad habits don't serve you, avoidance, and it doesn't feel good when it happens, but you just be aware of it, that's really just all you have to do in order to start chopping things down. And I've been doing this a little bit more myself when it comes to some of my eating patterns, but also when it comes to some of my other, let's call it like tendencies, because let's be honest, we all have things that we struggle with. Like I'm human, just like Brandon is, just like you are. And one of the things that I always have a hard time with is like I just love playing video games. And so I would just Saturday afternoon when I typically want to go play video games, I'm like, why do I want to play video games right now? Like what's going on right here? And it just kind of really occurred to me, I just wanted to like make myself feel like more fulfilled or like take my mind off my stress. So I was like, okay, instead of playing video game, go for a 50-minute walk. After that 50-minute walk with my dog, I came back home. I'm like, I feel so much better now. Let me go continue to start working right on my book. And it was that small little shift in awareness went so far to get me out of doing things that weren't serving me right now. So short of the long, TLDR. If you're trying to change something in your business or your life, whatever that might be, and it's coming up and there's some avoidance there, or you've got some habits not serving you, when you feel yourself slipping into that, just try to bring awareness to it and see where it leads you. Don't just even try to change things and try to dive all in, because you might just end up causing yourself more stress. Just slowly chip away at it. I think it'll give you some much needed momentum in the right direction. At least it has for me.
Love it, man. Incredible suggestion.
Cheers.
Everybody, thanks so much for being here. This is the Fitness Pro Mentors podcast. If you want to learn more, check out the Fitness Pro Mentors Facebook group. You can find a bunch of these podcasts there. Check us out on YouTube. And please don't hesitate to reach out to Glenn and I. And we can introduce you to some of our students so you can actually hear real results and real people making some incredible changes. Thanks so much for being here. We'll see everybody real soon.
Take care, everybody. See you in a couple weeks.